Welcome, everyone, to today's podcast episode. You're listening to the Home Design Podcast. My name is Adam Kayce, your host, and we aim to educate, inspire, and connect South Florida with the industry authorities within their trade. Today, we're going to be covering the topic of luxury home appliances, how to specify the correct appliances for your home, and so much more. All with Mike Robertson of Fuse Specialty Appliances. Mike, thank you for being here.
Glad to, Adam.
It's amazing. I've known you for a while. Obviously, even before Fuse, you've done a lot in the industry. You've been in it for a long time. But before we get into Fuse and you and the industry and appliances and everything else, who's Mike Robertson?
Well,
probably the toughest question of the day, right?
Yeah. So I don't know, family man, focused on business and trying to do something good in the community. And so what you see Mike Robertson doing is spending time with the family and focusing on a charity. Place of Hope is where I do a lot of work from a charity standpoint, and then working with our team here at Fuse Specialty Appliances.
Without a doubt. And, so obviously I feel like you've always taken the approach of being an entrepreneur and putting everything that you have into it and really caring about the business. But how did you get your start in the appliance world?
So I guess the first time I actually got into appliances, I was at Best Buy. I was with Best Buy a long time, and I actually at one point was running the store here in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. And made a big push to try and sell colored appliances like the red LG washer and dryer. We started selling a lot of them and having some fun times.
So you're the guy behind selling colored appliances at Best Buy?
I wouldn't say that. But I did put them at the front of the store, and that was something new. So that was kind of cool. But I started with a company called Florida Builder Appliances thereafter, and rose pretty quickly with them, and eventually was running that company's operations and sales in various aspects. That company was owned by Sears, and while there, we rebranded to Monark. And in Sears's bankruptcy, we, a few of us stepped out and decided, we don't really need to do this with a Sears backing or a big company backing, and we launched Fuse Specialty Appliances, and it's been a great ride, and a lot of the teams have, whether from the previous place we worked or another company, have joined us here, and we've got some great experienced salespeople and installers and teams to provide a great experience. So
no, definitely, and I feel like you guys really sat back and took a look at what's wrong with, not necessarily what's wrong, but how can you improve the process of buying appliances, specifying appliances, and just overall focusing on the experience first. That's what I see as an outsider looking in, and what you guys have really perfected and really done a great job and differentiated yourself, from the industry. But talking about appliances, there's a lot of questions that go into it. And remodeling, home design, home improvement, doesn't matter if you're in the industry or it's your first home or your 10th home, it's intimidating.
Oh yeah. It is. There's a lot that goes into it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So when looking at it, when do you start when you're going through the remodeling process? Say you're remodeling your kitchen. At what point should you start really looking into the appliances and getting into that process?
Nowadays, a lot of people that are even building homes, much less remodeling, they're starting with their appliances because just the lead times that have been out there for appliances. So it's not uncommon for us to be talking to the customer about the appliances that they want before they've even broken ground. But on a remodel, it's not that different, right? So the client should really try and get into a showroom, talking with a specialist about what it is that they like, how they cook, whether they're going to use the appliances or whether they're just there to be, nice to look at. But get in early so that they can figure out what it is that they would want. Because everything downstreams from there. You can build cabinetry however you want to. You can put the certain size duct in, but all of that is based on what appliances you have first.
Right. And when going through that, there's a lot that goes into the specifying process because, it's really pairing up the designer or architect or builder with you guys, because, there's a lot that goes into for every single type of appliance brand, whether it's where the electric is or where the plumbing is or gas or whatever that might be. What can you speak to that? Because that is important.
Yeah. So once you figure out everything that you need or that you want in your kitchen, our teams will put it all together and provide a spec package. And the number one thing that I think a client needs to do is read the spec, or make sure that the trade that they're working with is reading the spec to put the power in the right place, to put the water in the right place. And what that's going to do is allow those last days when we're going to install the appliances and the client wants to move in,
right?
Because they're probably already overdue by a few months in moving in.
And there's probably a lot of situations where the appliances or certain factors are holding up getting that CO.
Yeah, there could be. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
So, talking about, specifying it, selecting the right product, because as you mentioned, everybody's not a chef. Some of us want to pretend we are, and others are more advanced. So there is an appliance for everyone. But, we're talking about the whole specifying, and I think it's really important to point out what could go wrong and what are those like nightmare situations that you may have come across, so that way people listening, they know what to avoid.
So, challenging situations are a lot of times relate to the type of like the specification not being read. Right. So they, let's say we have clients that they buy an insert, but then they don't have a cabinet there to put the insert into, right. Or vice versa. They put a cabinet there and they bought a professional hood that can't go in a cabinetry. So some of it's around making sure that the trades are aligned, and our teams, they work specifically with cabinet companies and architects and designers. Okay. So, they want to know who the trade is that's working on the project, so that they can help keep everybody in step, making sure that everybody has everything that they need in order for it to go well. Other situations that can happen is, you don't run electrical lines, right? So you have a client that orders a speed oven, but doesn't realize that a speed oven is not a regular microwave. It's an actual oven that needs 220 power and not just 110 power. So
right.
Those are just things that it's all about making sure the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, and that everything is ready for the product to get there.
And your team tells it all does it all. It's important to really recognize, and there's a lot of appliance dealers, there's big box stores, there's a lot of options out there for people to, shop and get essentially what they want. But let's go into what really sets Fuse apart. You guys go through the whole process, but you guys have the experience. You get a true experience when you walk into your showrooms, but, tell us what's the differentiating factor between Fuse and others, but, getting into Fuse and even big box stores.
Yeah, so it's interesting because we hire a lot of people. We've been growing really fast,
right? And
that's come with a lot of interviewing. And when we interview people for sales, the most common thing we get into is complexity, their ability to learn complex things, because there's a lot to these appliances. So our teams, one of the things that makes our teams really special is their depth of product knowledge. And even the reps from manufacturers, they'll tell us, man, I got to be ready when I come to your teams, because they're not asking the easy questions. They're asking the hard questions,
right?
Because the last thing that they want to do is be in the showroom, you asking a question that they don't know the answer to. So you got product specialists at the beginning of it. You've got beautiful showrooms. Each of our showrooms, we have 4 with a 5th under construction in Boca. But beautiful showrooms showing contemporary design, things that you would put into your home, designs that you would put into your home, so you can see how it's going to look in a realistic installed setting.
Right.
Those are 2, and I
Without
think
a doubt.
Lastly, I think certified installation. So we take a lot of effort to make sure that our installers are well trained. We use a combination of employees and contractors, and they're all certified to make sure that the vendor's on board. In some cases, you actually get an extended warranty from the manufacturer because we installed it.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And that's something that the average person would never know. But even talking about the fact, and you mentioned, yeah, manufacturers reps have to be prepared when they walk into your showrooms. I know that you guys even have some past manufacturers reps even working for you guys that are in-house. So, the depth of knowledge, 100%, I can speak to it. I've been around your team for a long time. I know a lot of your team, but that is truly impressive because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're buying, but you want to make sure that you're speaking with the authority, the people that really know the information and not just trying to sell you something, but making sure that the right product ends up in your home for whatever that functionality is, and knowing what it will do to change your lifestyle or change your cooking habits today, but also in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll give you another example. In our showrooms, we actually will show the same type of product installed several different ways so that as you're going through your design process, you can see this is what's actually going to look like. This is what it's actually going to take for it to look like this.
And what a point to that is, if somebody's looking to build a home or remodel their kitchen or whatever it might be, I encourage them to go to any of your showrooms just to get inspiration. You guys have so many different design styles. I know that you guys work with, surface manufacturers and different people truly, showing what it could look like in a space. So, that's one thing in particular. Aside from the beautiful appliances, the cabinetry, the surfaces, everything that is full of inspiration.
Every day we get asked, who built this cabinet?
Right.
We have everything made outside of our market, just to make sure that we're highlighting the appliances themselves. But we also get asked every day about the lighting that we have in the showroom. Right. We don't sell lighting; it's there for decoration. And then the stone, and we've got a great relationship with several of the stone manufacturers. You can get great inspiration at our showrooms for sure.
No, without a doubt. And you mentioned that you have numerous locations, so I want to go into that. Where are you guys located?
Yeah, so originally we started with Fort Lauderdale and Naples. So we've got great showroom in Oakland Park in the Fort Lauderdale area, and in Naples downtown in the Design District, right off of 3rd and 10th in Naples. And then we launched North Palm Beach about a year later, and that is off of PGA and US 1, just behind Cod & Capers. And then in Miami, we launched just over a year ago, right off of Dixie Highway, down between kind of Coral Gables and Coconut Grove, behind Shell Lumber.
Right.
Really great locations. We're excited about all of them, actually.
And I know you got something new in the works.
Yeah, so Boca, we've been dragging our feet getting this thing constructed, but we're going to get this thing built out right. We actually start construction here in the next week, and we're really excited about that. That location is going to be right off of Clintmore Road in West Rogers Circle, and it's going to be just like the others. A real nice show, great design inspiration with a great team behind it. And
I'm sure you guys aren't going to stop there, but that's probably a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, we actually never set out to say, oh, we're going to go and be,
take over the world
locations.
Right.
We were like, when we had 2, we're like, we're good with 2. But each time, there's a need, and the people in the market, the trades really kind of make it so we have to go.
Right.
So they basically just tell us that they need us.
That sounds good. Someone else is dictating the path.
Right.
So, obviously we know where you are. We know that you guys are truly the authority in the trade, the questions that people can come to and really be able to see everything. But there's a lot that goes into appliances, and there's a variety of different types of appliances. And you mentioned briefly before, just talking about ovens, there's speed ovens, there's steam ovens, there's so much that goes into it. What are you seeing today in the sense of what is most popular? What are people looking for? Because there's also, products out there that people don't even know what it is or, how it could help their cooking.
Yeah. So, from an on the oven standpoint, probably the products that people are looking for the most are microwave drawers, which are a little different. You used to have the over-the-range microwave. This is a drawer that goes in an island right under the countertop, much more convenient usually. Plus, then you can have a nice decorative hood over the range or the cooktop that you have. And then steam ovens are very popular now. And steam is just a much healthier way of cooking. It uses a combination of steam and convection to provide a better result. If you're, as more and more of us are into healthy eating, that steam helps the nutrients stay in the food versus being dried out and kind of leaving those on the pan behind. And you eating the dried out piece that's left. So
yeah, that's good to know because people there's factors. It's not just like how quickly it might cook something, or, you know, the efficiency, but the nutrient factor is a key component to that.
Yeah, and I just read I just got sent something about the U.S. looking at gas cooking because of some of the health dangers around just burning gas in the home. And so induction cooktops have been very popular. And I think that we see those only gaining in popularity. And, you know, I mentioned that I recently moved, and I have a Thermador induction cooktop in my house. I got to tell you, it's amazing. The thing boils water so fast. I mean, this thing is it's just awesome to use induction cooking.
And it's great for families as well because, you know, it won't necessarily burn. You know, if a child puts their hand on the cooktop, you know, I mean, it'll be warm, it'll be hot, but
yeah, no, that's right. That's right, because it's using magnets and it's actually heating up the pan. So the only reason that the cooktop is hot is because the pan was hot. So as you take it off, it instantly starts to cool.
I have to ask, do you have the Freedom cooktop where you can move it everywhere, or?
No, it's the one that came with the house. It's a great cooktop, but it's not the Freedom cooktop.
Yeah, because Mike will tell you about it. You know, something particular, like, you know, just the technology that goes into these products. I mean, specifically the Freedom cooktop basically senses what size pot, where it is. You can move it around. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, just as far as an example of what cooktops can be.
Yeah, it's a cool piece that you can basically put the pan anywhere on the cooktop. It'll sense where that pan is, and you can adjust the power level from there. And you could have multiple pans in different positions. You know, you kind of think about when you're using your cooktop and how you have to adjust the handles and kind of keep things the right way. This eliminates a lot of that. It's simple, and it's a very clean look from a design perspective. Right. You don't have all these lines on the cooktop or, you know, a grill from the range or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice.
No, and even talking about clean lines and things like that, what induction offers design, like it's changed the way that people can also design kitchens, where you can actually, you know, there's technology in certain type of surfaces where you can have a surface over that cooking station where you don't even see that there is a cooktop there.
Yeah, we haven't actually done much with that product, but I've seen that out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you're looking at everything, and, you know, as far as all these different appliances, you know, we're not just talking about the ranges. We're not just talking about, you know, the refrigerators, and all of those are really cool, but there are some fun appliances out there, some different things. You know, in particular, like there are wine dispensers and coffee makers, and, you know, the world of the appliances doesn't just end at the cooktop or the refrigerator. You know, what are we seeing in the market today?
Yeah, so some of the kind of fun products that are becoming most popular, things like the Galley workstation.
Exactly,
which,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great prep and working sink, and you know, it's really cool if you haven't checked it out. And Zip Water, I think I showed you Zip Water last time we were in the showroom, and you know, it's great if you're a sparkling water drinker. You can have sparkling water on a tap, and you know, in addition to filtered and basically boiling water or hot water out of the tap. So in a nice design as well. So these are high quality finishes. You know, they're not like a little stick faucet that's just giving you your cold water. So, and
we'll drop some of the links in the comments below in the description of videos that we actually did focused on the Galley and focused on the Zip Water, because, you know, Mike didn't really give justification to what the Galley really is. I mean, this thing, like, well, it can go up to what, 72 inches wide. You know, it has soundproofing, so you can't even hear it when you turn on the water. You can put boards over it, so it's like continued surface. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, you're right. I you know,
it's very softly spoken there.
I'm not really a podcast guy, right? So you got to come to a showroom and see it. But I think it's actually I think we have a 7-foot one on display in the North Palm Beach showroom, and yeah, you can use all the tools and work with the work in it. But the faucet, you mentioned the faucet, that's one of my favorite things they have, because it kind of redefines how you think about a luxury kitchen in my mind around the faucet, because you know, you have all of this luxury around you, and then your faucet makes this sound like and the Galley is silent.
Yeah,
it's
you don't
amazing.
Even know. Yeah, you just can't forget that you turn it on.
Right.
You know, so I mean, this thing is impressive, and you know, there's so much. And to Mike's point, you really have to see it and experience it, and that's why it's so important to have one of these impressive showrooms, or in your case, 5 of them. But you know, I have to ask first. I mean, are you a cook?
Not a great cook,
but you enjoy it. You go to the process. Okay.
Yeah.
If you were to pick one appliance, do you have a favorite?
You know,
not necessarily brand or anything, but like,
I mean, I love ice makers because I like always having ice available.
Yeah.
So for me, ice.
So you're behind the bar.
Deal. I mean, I'm usually behind it, in front of it,
wherever it is. That's awesome. Because as far as everything we talked about, products and innovation and different things and bringing people together, because that's essentially what the kitchen does. It brings families together. That's, you could have a beautiful home, but you see people huddled around the island. And to that point, other products that we've seen is bringing people outdoors. And there's so many different elements, and especially going through COVID, that was one of the easiest areas to really add livable square footage to your home. So what are you seeing in the outdoor world?
Yeah, so we do a lot with outdoor, very popular pieces have been around pizza ovens, actually, as expansion
absolutely.
pieces, apart from just the regular grill. But there's, we have wolf grills. So if you have a wolf kitchen inside, you can have a wolf kitchen outside. But pizza ovens are great. We have products from Alfresco and Kalamazoo. You can do refrigerators outside, drawers outside, ice makers outside, and really make it an outdoor kitchen, someplace that you can be comfortable. You can actually cook an entire meal in and have a great time and, enjoy it outside with your family. Yeah.
And to your point, like these pizza ovens, you don't have to go to the restaurant anymore. You can have as good or better at home. You can get the coal fire, wood fire pizza ovens, or even these, crazy cooktops like the Evo.
Yep. Yeah. The Evo is a great, fun one to look at. I love that one in the island. And you can cook, I think you can cook like 40 burgers on that Evo.
Oh my God.
Cooktop.
I don't know if I have 40 friends.
Well, we'll get one more.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's cool. And there's a lot of good products out there. But, when I think about outdoor kitchens, if you've got a luxury indoor kitchen, you should really have a luxury outdoor kitchen.
Absolutely. Don't forget about outdoors because, once you have it, you'll spend more time out there. And, there's some key components. Like people say, like, why do I need an ice maker inside and outside? Or why do I need a refrigerator outside as well as inside? Well, the thing is, when you're entertaining and you're cooking and, if you're behind the grill and you don't want to have to go in and out and going back and forth, where you can stay put and be a part of the party.
That's right. Yeah. I always think about that when we have parties and I'm like, I feel like an employee.
Right. Exactly. Like, you don't even get to talk to anyone.
I want to be, part of the party.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's a factor. Like the Evo could actually do that and things like that. But, so talking about that and trends is something that comes up all the time, and really, we're in January, we're looking into 2023 and there's a lot of like innovation always coming to market. What are we seeing or what trends are you seeing in general for appliances?
So more and more people are hiding the appliances in the cabinetry.
Okay.
So you're seeing fully integrated product. This is on the luxury side anyways, right? So where the cabinet panels, like you can open the doors. In some cases in our showrooms, you can't actually tell whether it's a drawer or an appliance or a door or an appliance. It might be a cabinet, it might be an appliance. And that's how a lot of people are approaching it. So you're seeing refrigerators get covered up with panels. You're seeing dishwashers get covered up with panels. And then, it depends on your style, whether you're doing real clean design or whether you're going for a professional look and doing a Blue Star or a Wolf range with a big hood over it, or you're doing, a nice contemporary clean induction setup. So.
Yeah, because there are those design styles like, super ultra modern. You're not necessarily going to put a Blue Star in there. Right. But, but at the same time, some of these products, they're meant to be transitional and could be mixed in to different elements. But, also talking about like, one of the hottest things and what people are talking about is, sustainability and energy efficiency and things like that. Doesn't matter if, we're talking to a millennial or somebody that, is, 70 plus years old or whatever it might be that's, building out their dream kitchen. So what can you speak to in regards to that?
So, so on the induction, for example, like that's the most energy efficient cooking product you have.
Okay.
And when you think about using the refrigeration today, the refrigeration uses less than what a 100-watt light bulb used to use.
Wow.
I mean, it's like you're cooling and storing your food.
Just think of what electric bills used to be,
right? Or what they would be.
Or what they would be today. Right. I mean, pricing is going up. It's crazy.
Exactly. And a lot of the issues that we're having from a supply chain standpoint are about meeting Department of Energy requirements for this year. A lot of the sub-zero things that have been going on are model transition because they're trying to hit these new standards to hit the sustainability and the energy efficiency targets.
Absolutely. And, talking about, we spoke about the efficiency, convenience, but, talking specifically in the technology perspective, and, having the different menu settings and different programming aspects and, being able to ultimately turn it on from your phone and program things, like what does the technology look like when it comes to a lot of these new appliances?
Yeah, so I'm like more of a Rolex guy where like I like the fact that it tells time, but
right, exactly.
I don't want it to tell my heart rate and be connected to my phone and everything. But we're seeing more and more products that do connect to your system, do connect to your phone, do connect to your network. And there's a few benefits to it. From a user benefit standpoint, there are things you can do like preheat the oven, on your way home. Or you can see the timer cook down. Like, so let's say you're watching the preheat time, right? It'll let you know it's ready to go. The other side of it, though, is if it's connected to the network, the technician, when there's an issue, can diagnose it remotely.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people don't realize how beneficial that is. So, if you have every product breaks. You have a sub-zero fridge that breaks, and it's connected to the network. They can diagnose it and bring the right parts the first time and finish in one stop. Otherwise, when it's not connected, they got to connect their computer to it, diagnose it, and come back with the parts that they need.
No, absolutely. Because, a lot of it is a convenience factor, but I didn't even think about that in the sense of diagnosing an issue because, it doesn't matter what you buy, things can go wrong. And that saves people time and everything. I mean, who wants it? I mean, you have a technician come over, they're like, oh, I'll be there between 8 and 1.
Right.
All right. Exactly. I'll just stay home all day.
Right.
So some other things is, when it comes to trends, we touched on it before between the steam ovens and everything like that, but something that a lot of people are using in their kitchens are air fryers and also sous vide. Yeah. These two types of cooking are now implemented into our existing appliances where you don't have to have that extra piece.
That's right.
I even experienced it in one of your showrooms in the Miami one, the SKS, the kitchen suite there, with the sous vide. But, tell us about those two elements because people are used to it being a added, countertop type of device.
Right. Nobody likes having extra clutter in the kitchen. So, there's several brands now that have integrated air fryers into their ovens, whether they're ranges or whether they're single ovens or double ovens. They've got the air fry button basically that you can use. It's great. And then on the sous vide, there's a few different ways you can do sous vide. So there's a number of brands that have vacuum drawers where they'll actually seal the product for you, the food for you in the thing, and then you can sous vide it on the cooktop using a thermostat.
Okay.
But the SKS is really unique where it actually has a sous vide reservoir built into the range. And if you haven't sous vide cooked, I can't tell you the number of fillets that I have totally wrecked on the grill because I get distracted in the last 3 minutes of when it's put on the grill.
Seriously, and that's all it takes.
Right. and then, my fillet is gone. So when you do it with sous vide, it's almost impossible to mess it up.
So I've actually never cooked on a sous vide.
No.
So when you cook it, and if you're not there, will it just keep it at that temperature? It won't keep cooking it. How does it actually work?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So you have a product like a food that's sealed in a bag of some type, food savored or whatever, and then you put it into a water bath effectively that is at the temperature that you want. So for me, I like my fillets medium rare, so I set the temperature of the water about 129 degrees. And I keep it in there. And it can be in there for hours, right? So it'd probably take a little less than an hour for it to actually get to temperature, but it can be in there for hours. I could do it and go to the park, whatever. And when I get back, it's ready to go. I could just eat it. Now it doesn't look very good. It looks all gray, because it's not charred. It's not,
exactly.
all that stuff. So, all you got to do is cut it open and throw it on the grill for a minute on each side, and then it's seared and ready to go. But you can do it with potatoes and veggies. I mean, almost anything.
Right.
You just have to set the temperature to the right temperature.
No, that's amazing. And, I've heard amazing things about, sous vide in general, but that's cool that it's actually put into, specifically, the SKS kitchen suite or the signature suite that they have. And for those of you that don't know, SKS is a division of LG.
That's right.
So, it's a whole family of brands where, if you know technology in LG, I mean, you're buying a product that's going to be advanced in the technology space. But we've spoken on a lot of luxury appliances, all these conveniences and advancements and everything that's been made. And, it's not just technology, but you brought up the Blue Star. This is a stove that you can have any color. Like, it doesn't matter, you can dream it up and they can do it. Right. So, there's so much that goes into it. But what I really want to know is what's the true difference if you were to define it, luxury versus mass market? What are the biggest key elements when it comes to that and what you're going to get from a luxury product?
I think that the number one difference between when we think of luxury products and mass market products is around performance.
Right.
And, people talk about refrigerators. As an example, why would I spend $10,000 on a refrigerator? That's ridiculous. I can get one for $1,200.
Right.
And a Sub-Zero fridge, as an example, is about food preservation. It's not about refrigeration. It's about food preservation. It's managing humidity levels. It's managing temperature, and it's teaching you how to store food, because you don't store food the same way in a Sub-Zero, and as a result, you're actually going to have food that lasts longer. You're not going to throw it away. So when you think about that on the refrigeration side and you combine it with on a range side, you talk about Blue Star. That's professional cooking. So these are, 30,000 BTU cooktop, ranges. So really high temperature cooking that you can do on a Blue Star. So, and that's really when I think about the difference between luxury and mass. It's about performance.
Right. And also what luxury will do. I mean, there's other key components where, we're always talking about you own a home, you're putting money into your home, the value of the home as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have Sub-Zero in the listing, you're more likely to sell it at a higher rate. And there's plenty of articles that have done studies on that to prove it. The other thing that I think is interesting around luxury is the flexibility. Okay. So, when you think about a refrigerator, we can do those integrated column refrigerators in 24-inch, 30-inch, 36-inch sizes. You can pair those with freezers that are 18 inches, 24 inches, 30 inches, 36 inches. So you can really have a lot of flexibility with what you're doing. When you look at under-counter refrigerators, you've got 30-inch, 24-inch, 36-inch options. So it's really a matter of what are you trying to do? How important is it for, how much do you need? And you have a lot of flexibility. And on the mass side, you really don't have that.
Right.
Everything's 30-inch. Every fridge is 36. Every dishwasher is 24.
Right.
There's no option.
No, you can really marry up, basically aesthetics and performance and everything there. But we can't forget about wine fridges. You can even pair that up with regular refrigeration and freezers. So, make it all uniform.
Yep, absolutely. And we have under counter wine storage systems. We got tall wine as well. And it doesn't matter how big your collection is. We can find a solution for you. I got one client that's out in the Polo Club in Wellington, and he has 3 of these wine units next to each other. These custom panels on them, and it is gorgeous. It's a real statement piece in his living room.
That's amazing. I don't know if you can get it, but if you can share pictures of that, I mean, it sounds incredible. But when looking at all of these different appliances, and we're always surprised with what's new and what's next and the latest and greatest. But do you see any indicators of what the next 5 to 10 years look like? I mean, refrigeration for the most part is refrigeration, same thing with cooking, but we've already we have perfected, the cooktops and everything, and just everything keeps continuously evolving. And whether that's the aesthetic part or the technology part, but where do you think there's room to grow or really evolve?
I think there's going to be a lot of evolution around the gas versus induction.
Okay.
I think you're going to see a lot of push into induction. You've already seen states in the country that have banned gas, new gas.
Wow. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot of evolution there. And then I think it's, the technology is a little bit yet to mature on some of the air fry and how that's going to come in, and sous vide and how that's going to come in totally. And then it's just about kind of getting better, more consistent performance. And to be honest with you, some of this is about catching up on the supply chain. I mean, the backlog of orders is pretty extravagant. So.
No, without a doubt. Yeah. Cause I mean, obviously there's a huge focus there. You guys, fortunately, you positioned yourselves pretty well and navigated the waters of what COVID brought us. You want to talk at all about the challenges you guys saw and what the industry challenges were?
Sure. The starting when we did was interesting. And I kind of say that it was a blessing because we were already scrambling and we were blessed to bring great people on board that knew the product real well and could connect well with our clients. And as a result, we saw sales increase really fast, which is great, except as COVID hit and the supply chain kind of deteriorated around the appliances, we ran into a major issue around warehousing.
Right.
I mean, we used to be able to bring in product and ship
move it out.
it would come in and leave. It was amazing. So in the last couple of years, we've had to invest in about 100,000 square foot in warehouse space.
Wow.
So we have a ton of inventory available and a ton of inventory on hand. And that doesn't mean that we're not waiting for a lot, because we're waiting on a ton too. But we've got a world-class operation in Deerfield Beach and in Fort Myers to really get hold the inventory for as long as we're required to, and then be able to ship it out with our certified installers. And we're able to do it without damaging the product to the best that we can. So it's a really good setup that we've been able to build, but the supply chain is a mess. I mean, there's in a lot of cases we have no idea when the product's coming. Like somebody's like, oh no,
Yeah.
I was actually talking to one of our salespeople this morning. I left a meeting to come here, and I had told that salesperson last week how he should respecify a dishwasher because his customer was 170th in line to receive a dishwasher with us.
Right.
That means we have 169 customers in front of them that we're waiting on. We haven't gotten one of those dishwashers in like 6 months. Well,
that's a key component. When somebody says, it's not, like you said, it's not just the sale, and it's knowing what's available in the market, what's coming in. And that's having these relationships with the manufacturers as well, because they might say, well, that's not coming anytime soon. And part of, building a business and having a great business is customer satisfaction. And people appreciate that. Say, listen, like, we can get that for you. We don't know when it's going to be here, but here are some other options that you might want to look at.
Well, an interesting thing is, in the short time that we've been here, we've actually grown to become one of the largest independent appliance dealers in the Southeast U.S. So
hold on, I got to give you this. You deserve that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so
that's amazing.
Yeah. So what that does for us, though, is we do get preferred treatment from the brands.
Right.
They, when they have an extra one, they call us and say, hey, do you want this? Do you need this?
Right.
And they all joke because I always say yes.
Yes. Right. Fill up the warehouse.
Send it, ship it.
Right.
Ship it. Because we know we have somebody that needs it.
Right.
Last week I brought in over 50 built-in refrigerators just to have, because people are going to need them.
Right. Absolutely. No, it's better to be prepared. And, at the end of the day, there's a lot of construction out there. People, they don't stop remodeling, but when it comes to, you work with a lot of designers, architects, builders, speaking to the homeowner, to somebody that might be shopping for themselves, is there a specific question that they should know to ask a appliance dealer going into a showroom? Because at the end of the day, they want to make sure that they're comfortable with whoever they're working with. Would you say there's anything that the homeowner should know to ask?
So, I think that there's a couple of things that I would really pay attention to. And, one of them is, are you certified to install?
Right.
More than half of service calls are related to poor installation.
Okay.
So, are you a certified installer? If you're not a certified installer, that's kind of be a deal breaker, to be honest. And then another, what was the other one? What was the question? It was
just what questions that they should know to ask.
Yeah. So, and that is, so what, when do they buy the product, and how do they store the product? And is there any opportunity for that client to even pay for storage? And what does that look like?
Right.
In today's environment, these are questions that you wouldn't have necessarily asked before.
Right.
But if you have the opportunity, if they have the ability to store the product, even if it's at a nominal fee, knowing that it's there is really important. Because I can't tell you how many customers call us and they say, hey, I bought this. 6 months ago or a year ago, and they just told me it was pushed out another year. And what that tells us is maybe it wasn't ordered initially.
Right. Exactly. And there's a lot of things that happen in the industry, and that's a scary thing, because when you're building a custom kitchen, then all of a sudden that day comes where you are ready for appliances, and it's like, 6 more months or whatever that's heartbreaking for somebody.
Yeah, we think of it as, when we're making that sale, it's a promise, right? So we got promise makers and promise keepers,
right?
And if
it's easy to make them.
That's right. That's right. It's easy to make them. So we got to do everything we can to keep the promise.
Right.
That customer gave us a deposit or was planning, even if they didn't give us a deposit, they're planning on that happening, and we're buying to fulfill their order. It's not like we're sitting back with 500 of these in the back room, and we're selling you one of them.
And there's a lot of custom type of appliances out there. Like, if we're talking about colors or specs or whatever it is, when you're getting into luxury, there are some very specified products out there that is 100% custom. Like the manufacturer doesn't even stock it. It's just like, built to fit whatever that spec is.
Well, and if you have ever built a house, that mistakes happen.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes the homeowner makes mistakes. Sometimes the designer makes mistakes. Sometimes we make a mistake.
Right.
Mistakes, when they happen, they're a lot harder to solve right now.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you're a lot more focused around tying off those, and that you're not going to make mistakes, because if you got to wait 6 months for a product and you made a mistake, you got to wait another 6 months. Oh my gosh.
Not happy. But the thing is, like, the reality is we're all human. Mistakes happen, but it's a matter of what you do to resolve the mistake.
Right.
That's the biggest thing, because at the end of the day, everyone makes them. It's a matter of what you do to follow up on it.
Yeah, and at Fuse, we actually just have recently announced internally how we're adding significant resources, all to kind of reinforce that we call it a project. We're recruiting a project success team.
Okay.
So it's basically an independent group that their job is to get to know the customer situations and really help to keep that promise.
Right.
We want to keep the promise, and we're also adding service coordinators, even though we don't provide service directly, so that we can help customers through the service process and help follow up on what's going on. Really, our goal is to keep that promise.
Right.
And we've done a great job making promises. Fortunately, we also have done a great job keeping promises. And if you look at our reviews, they're all 4.5, 4.9, 4.7, 4.8. Really top reviews. And when we do make mistakes, as we do, we own up and we'll do whatever we can to solve it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Because reviews are real. Like that, those are real people that, they took the time to make that review, but they had the experience with you. And at the end of the day, that is something that people should look into, as far as, looking at what a company has for reviews and what situations have happened or how great something or whatever it might be. But, that's a thing. It's intimidating. It's overwhelming. But having seeing a company that's making the internal investment to make sure that the client satisfaction is there, that's impressive in itself. And clients like, company every now and then picking up the phone, checking on it, giving an update without having to hunt someone down. But to your point, when a service call is important, having quick access and not having to dig for a number or, whatever it might be, that is a difference maker.
Absolutely.
So, we talked about a lot here. We've gone through a lot. Is there anything that you want to touch on that we haven't really spoken on today?
I think that I think we've done a good job covering a lot. We talked about a lot. So, I think we've got great teams here. We're blessed to live in a great state and in a great community. And one of the things I guess that we didn't really touch on is just how we focus on giving back too. So we
absolutely, and that is an important component. And for you, I'd love to go into that.
Yeah. So we're personally, I've been a big supporter of Place of Hope, which is based in Palm Beach County, and it provides foster care and adoption assistance services to the community. And we've been able to be a part of some cool projects. And there was one recent one that actually was began by RWB, Robert Raj, RWB Construction, which we don't actually have a relationship. We don't. he buys from somebody else.
Oh man!
So, but but we're connected.
Robert,
to Place
if you're
of Hope.
listening,
so we're both connected to Place of Hope, and he decided that he was going to rebuild basically tear down somebody's home, a foster mom's home, and put up a new one, all at their expense. And we stepped in and just said, hey, you don't have to ask. We want to come in and take care of the appliances. And they recently finished that home in 4 months.
Wow.
Which was
so it is possible. Right.
Don't tell anybody.
I know, seriously. Because if you go to them, they're like, oh, that's a year and a half down the road.
but what a blessing, somebody like Robert is in the community and to be able to be here. And, that's one of the things that we want to be, is just a part of the community and the fabric of the community, giving back and supporting the people around us. So.
No, that's amazing. And it's really special for us to be able to work with people like yourself. And, for us, we produce the home shows, and, everyone listening, you can find Mike and his team. Fuse is a regular at our shows. You can speak to them, engage with them, ask your questions, because ultimately we are a reflection on the community and the businesses that are here and the people that you need to connect with. And, that's what we're most passionate about and fortunate to be able to work with, people like yourself and your team. I mean, it's amazing and it's inspiring every day.
We're glad to be a part of it as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we're just at the start. There's so much. And for everyone listening, I can't thank you enough for tuning in. Mike, thank you for being here. I know, having you here in person, talking about the appliance world, your business, everything that goes into it. But you inspire us. But for everybody who's not familiar, check out our website at homeshows.net. Mike, to contact your team, what's the best way?
So you can call any of our showrooms, or you can email us at info@fuseappliances.com. Check out our website at www.fusespecialtyappliances.com. Give us a ring. We'd love to be a part of your project.
Social media, follow them, see their projects at Fuse Appliances.
Yep.
But for everyone, make sure you come and visit us at our next home design and remodeling show. We produce them in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, as well as Palm Beach. And we really focus on creating and establishing the largest marketplace here in Florida for the home industry, as well as for homeowners. So until next time, make sure you follow us at FL Home Shows. Subscribe to our channel to get all of the latest in home design and home improvement. But until next time, stay tuned for the next episode.